Alright guys, BLM here, back with a new video. In this video I'll be doing a ranking of all of the Lost Tales of Greece missions from Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Now if you don't know what these are, these were the free DLC missions that were released after the initial release of the game. Essentially they were just things to get people to come back to Odyssey. And now that all of them are out, I can finally make this video. The question is, why am I making this video? And to be honest, I really don't know. Because spoiler alert, none of these are good. I mean, they're all pretty bad. I mean, some of them do have their moments, but even the best one here is still a mediocre side quest. I actually did go and replay all of the Lost Tales of Greece before making this video, and I felt like I was going to lose my mind when doing it. But I'm not going to let that all go to waste, so here we go. We're making a video. I did debate over doing an overview video or doing a ranking video, but screw it, we're doing a ranking video. It's really arbitrary, but who cares? Let's go. So number 12, I have Divine Intervention, and this mission just sucks. I mean, narratively, it has no real narrative. I mean, we're just told to do fetch quests for a woman who thinks she's Athena. The missions themselves, as I mentioned, are fetch quests, with most of the locations that you're heading towards being areas that don't have fast travel points, meaning you spend a lot of this mission just riding on your horse from location to location or driving a boat. It's so boring and annoying. And really, this might be one of the worst missions in all of Odyssey. Like, I hated it the first time I played it. I hated it on the replay. Now at number 11, I have the Image of Faith, and even after having just replayed this, I have very little memory of this mission. I mean, it's essentially a quest line where you help out the priests in this small village. Again, it's pretty boring. I mean, there's nothing interesting here narratively or gameplay-wise. I couldn't tell you a single thing about any of these characters here. But at least you don't spend most of your time going from random island to island in the middle of nowhere, so it's not the very bottom. At number 10, I have A Poet's Legacy, which I can at least say I actually remember this one, so there's that. Most of the mission revolves around the characters of Praxilla and Orchimedes, and at least there is a coherent narrative here that has a clear beginning and ending, which is better than the previous two. However, gameplay-wise, these missions are really annoying, where again, there's a lot of fetch quests, with some of these things that you gotta find being pretty hard to find, even within their own exploration zones. And to be honest, I did get stuck. I did run around circles for probably around 5 minutes trying to find these things. So again, not my favorite mission in the world. So yeah, it ranks here at number 10. At number 9, I have the Daughters of Lalaia, whatever. Which again, at least tells a story. Mind you, it's a very generic one, similar to that of like Seven Samurai, where Cassandra or Themistios, I guess I always play as Cassandra, but whatever, helps out the tribe and trains some of the members and leads the fight against the raiders. Again, it's something. Not good though. But like A Poet's Legacy, there are a few annoying fetch quests, and while the characters didn't stand out as much as A Poet's Legacy, I didn't have as bad of a time with the missions themselves. So again, while I don't particularly like this one, I did put it one spot higher. At number 8, I have the last Lost Tale of Greece that was released, and that is Socrates' Trial, which is all around a really forgettable mission. I don't think there's anything that bad here, but nothing really that strong either. I mean, we spend the entire mission trying to prove Socrates' innocence, and I was expecting there to be a trial at the end, as you would assume by the name, where we would use the evidence that we found throughout and try to prove his innocence. And guess what? None of that happens. Instead, he's released, and then we get a dumb escorting mission at the end. So yeah, a bit of a letdown at the end of the day. Not super memorable outside of seeing more Socrates, and even that's not great. At number 7, I have A Brother's Seduction, and I do think from this point on, these are all competent missions. Again, none of these missions are great, but at least these are like at least average missions from this point on. Now this one did revolve around two brothers who end up falling in love with the protagonist, and they're dealing with the death of their father. And again, I will say, I actually think this is one of the better missions from a narrative perspective. Again, some of the writing is very, it's Odyssey, so it's terrible. But I do think the base plot here is like okay. Gameplay wise, it's again mostly fetch quests that obviously get pretty boring, where you just constantly get things for these brothers, and the ending is kind of dumb, where you have the choice to romance one of the brothers or none of them at all. And it's really just a pointless thing, because again, romances in Assassin's Creed Odyssey mean absolutely nothing because they're never brought up ever again. But I will say I didn't hate replaying this, so It's here at number 7. At number 6, I have A Friend Worth Dying For, which revolves around Barnabas and him trying to find his long-lost wife. And again, I thought that narratively this was one of the better missions of the bunch, and it is a decent extension to Barnabas's character, but gameplay-wise, this mission's really annoying, especially for the first half, where you spend the entire first half trying to get items for Barnabas that are around the entire world. So you have to travel to all these random locations. It does get annoying, but the back half is pretty solid and has some interesting things narratively, so it does rank here at number 6. At number 5, I have Old Flames Burn Brighter, which revolves around the Misthios' long-lost love that was never mentioned before. But you spend most of the mission getting to know her and her son, and there are actions and dialogue options throughout that do affect whether or not you leave on good terms. So at least there's that here. But gameplay-wise, this is a pretty laid-back mission. I did enjoy the section where you prepare for the date and you like investigate her house, and then when you go to the market to buy things for dinner, you select things that obviously relate to the stuff that you found around her house. I thought that was at least interesting. So yeah, I mean, overall, I don't have much bad to really say here, but again, it's nothing mind-blowingly good either. At number 4, I have One Really, Really Bad Day, which is easily one of the dumbest missions I've ever played in the entire Assassin's Creed series. And it really just shows you how downhill Assassin's Creed has gone. But with that being said, it's so dumb that I do find it kind of funny. I mean, the premise of the mission is that everything the Misthios does during this day goes wrong, from destroying the wrong ships to having every person that she ends up helping dying in some ridiculous way. So again, it's an interesting concept, I guess. And the final scene where we have the really dumb, like, Highlander scene where we get the close-up shots of Icarus and the chicken, and it's like there can be only one. Like, it's so dumb. It's so dumb. It's so, like, ridiculous that I did find it funny. So its stupidity lands it here at number 4. At number 3, I have The Show Must Go On, which was actually the first one to be released. And while gameplay-wise, I do find this one pretty forgettable, I did enjoy the narrative here. I mean, the mission does revolve around a play about Leonidas, and the Misthios is trying to put it together, so she has to gather all the actors, and the mission itself ends with the actual play itself, where the Misthios plays Leonidas. It felt somewhat similar to the plays The Thing in The Witcher 3, so I did enjoy that. Again, it's kind of dumb, but I mean, it's Odyssey, so while it's not great, it is here at number 3. Now at number 2, I have what I actually thought was going to be number 1 when I started making this list, and that is The Heir of Memories, which was technically the prologue to The Fate of Atlantis, and I was actually thinking The Fate of Atlantis could be decent after having played this mission the first time, and boy was I wrong. But now, while on the replay I didn't enjoy The Heir of Memories nearly as much as I did the first time, I still think it set up a potentially good story, but again, they had to butcher it. Gameplay-wise, the mission isn't that strong. I mean, it comprises of running around tombs as Layla, which simply isn't fun, and I did get lost a few times. I also don't love that you have to travel across the entire map because these tombs are in all different locations. But I will give this mission credit in being the first time since the Desmond saga that I felt like the modern day did have some mystery and intrigue to it, with you not really knowing Alethea's plan, her motives, and the talk about the interloper. So there's that. Again, they butcher it later on, but it's something. The Deimos scene is really dumb and just one of the most ridiculous scenes in the entire series. Layla as a character still sucks, and surprisingly, she gets even worse in The Fate of Atlantis. So while I did initially put this at number 1, these things are pretty bad, so I moved it down to number 2. And at number 1, I have Every Story Has an Ending, which revolves around Herodotus and him returning home to Samos. And while the narrative had the typical generic, like, dickhead brother and nice brother, and you're supposed to pick which one is the bad guy, and it turns out the dickhead brother's the good guy, and the other one's the bad guy, which, again, Odyssey does multiple times through its side quests. I will say that this mission is a pretty fitting conclusion to Herodotus as a character. He's someone that kind of gets overshadowed in Odyssey after his initial appearance, but I do think this gave him some character, and we got to say farewell to him. Gameplay-wise, there really isn't anything special here. Again, there's nothing that really annoyed me, though, which is a really rare thing with these Lost Tales of Greece. So really, again, this mission's not that great. I mean, it's a pretty average side quest, but it doesn't do many things actively wrong. So because of that, that's enough to put it here at number 1. And there we go. That is my ranking of the Lost Tales of Greece. I don't know why I made this video, but I did. These missions suck. again, even the best is just a competent quest. But that's the video. So yeah, thank you for watching.